Good morning, children. Welcome back to the lesson Yvonne's Tries an O Level, written by Colin Dexter. Dear children, we had already 5 sessions on this, and we are at the end of the lesson now. And today we will conclude the lesson. So, before we start for the day, let us make an immediate recap of or recapitulation of what we have already learned. So the main characters: Evans, the Break, Stephen Jackson, the governor, the superintendent, and other officials like Mr. Bell, detective chief inspector, Mr. Carter, detective superintendent, and that invigilator Reverend S. McClary. All these characters are given life so far. Now we are at the end of the lesson with the escape of Evans from the cell or from the prison, and all are behind him. And McClary, the wounded McClary, offered that he could find the escaped Evans, and with the help of that question paper, governor and other people are on their way to catch Evans back. Okay, we have already come across some other important issues like the correction slip of the question paper that helped him, and there was a demand for a prison van, and keeping Stephen always in keen watch. Okay, then McClary's offer of help, and McClary is taken in the police vehicle. I mean, Detective Superintendent Carter took McClary. Actually, that McClary is actually Evans. The wounded McClary is actually Evans. Okay, that you know. And the governor sends Jackson and Stephen to Newbury because governor could understand from the codes that are written in the question paper. And McClary disappears. Okay, the original McClary disappears. That means Evans only disappear, and the real original McClary was gagged in his church itself. Actual McClary, that is actual McClary is discovered. He was securely bound and gagged in his flat. He has been there since 8:15. That all these things we discussed. Now the remaining part, dear children, take page number 86 in the middle part. Okay, page number 86. We ended with the dialogue. What is the dialogue? It had not been Evans impersonating McClary who had walked out. It had been Evans impersonating McClary who had stayed in. So it is very clear that the wounded McClary inside the cell is Evans, and the one who has already gone is the McClary, invigilator. Okay, that is what clear now. The fish and the chips were delicious, and after a gentle stroll around the center of Chipping Norton, Evans decided to return to the hotel and have an early night. So after escaping from the roundabout, Evans reached in a hotel. A smart new hat concealed the wreckage of his closely cropped hair, and he kept it on as he walked up to the reception desk of the Golden Lion. That is the name of the hotel. And in order to cover his concealed the wreckage, what did he do? He wore a new hat, a smart hat that concealed, that has hidden the damage caused by that hair and all. He applied hair only to make a beard just like that of McClary. Now it is removed. Okay, it would take a good while for his hair to regain its former glories. Actually, he had a long hair, so that was discussed in the beginning, that he cut into small like that of McClary. Okay, and the remaining hair he used it for making beard. But what the hell did that matter? He was out again. Wasn't he a bit of bad luck that when Jackson had punished his scissors, for it had meant a long and tricky operation with his only razor blade the previous night? Oh, but he had had his good luck too. Just think, if Jackson had made him take his bobble hat off, phew, that really had been a close call. Still, old Jackson wasn't such a bad fellow. So dear children, it's very clear that that day Jackson wanted him to remove his cap, but he said it was a lucky charm for him. The purpose is he wanted to cut the long hair. I mean, he wanted to hide the hair that time. Later on he wanted to cut the hair, okay, and that could be used as the beard or whatsoever. So luckily Jackson did not make it compulsory, so that saved him. One of the worst thing funny really had been the beard. He had always been allergic to sticking plaster, and even now his chin was irritatingly sore and red. Actually, that beard part, because the hair that he had from his hair he applied as a beard, and it was really allergic for him. It is still irritating him, and there was sore red color on his face, so that he covered with a smart new hat now. But not covered, actually with a smart new hat nobody would look at his damaged face. The receptionist wasn't the same girl who had booked him in. When he entered the hotel, receptionist was a different girl, now a different girl again. But the change was definitely for the better. As he collected his key, he gave her his best smile, told her he would be bothering with breakfast. He wouldn't be bothering, okay. Actually you can place order in the counter for your breakfast, lunch and all this, but he said he wouldn't be bothering her for breakfast. Ordered the Daily Express newspaper. He asked for an early morning call at 6:45 a.m. Tomorrow was going to be another busy day for Evans. So before he went to bed that night, he asked that receptionist to wake him up at 6:45 a.m. tomorrow. What's the purpose? Again, there is a busy day ahead for him. He whistled shortly to himself as he walked up the broad stairs. He had sort of liked the idea of being dressed up as a minister, dog collar and everything. Yes, it had been a jolly good idea for McClary to wear two black fronts, two collars. So dear children, now you mark it. Actually his friend, the invigilator was his friend only. When he came, he brought two things, everything two. He wore two aprons or two fronts, two collars and everything too. That is why when this McClary was being escorted to the main gate, Stephen had a doubt. You remember what doubt did he have then? Whether that McClary had got thinned. He has become lean. Why? Because when he was coming, he had two dresses on him. When he was going, only one. So that is the doubt. Really, it was a real doubt from Stephen's side. So it is now revealed for all of you. McClary wore everything too, and one was shared. And how did they share? While sharing, they covered themselves with a blanket, and in between the blanket, they exchanged. And that also Stephen had a doubt. Stephen was thinking why Evan was holding a pen in his mouth all the time. Okay, that is to balance the blanket, otherwise the blanket would be slipped off. Okay, that is the detail. McClary had only just got his hand up to his neck in time to stop the collars springing apart before Stephen's. Oh, they had got that little problem worked out all right, though a pen stuck in his mouth whenever the evil eye had appeared at the peephole. Easy, but all the fiddling about under the blanket with the black front and the stud at the back of that collar, that had been far more difficult than they had never ever bargained for. Everything else had gone beautifully, smoothly through. In the car, he had found everything they had promised him: soap and water, clothes, the map. Yes, the map, of course. the Ordnance Survey map of Oxfordshire. He had got some good friends, some very, very clever friends. Christ, oh. So, dear children, it is very clear to all that all those people connected with Evans were his friends. Okay, and how they exchange the dress of the clerical collar and all this. It is very nice, very interesting for everybody. He unlocked his bedroom door and closed it quietly behind him, and then stood frozen to the spot like a man who has just caught a glimpse of the Gorgon. Okay, so see, everything is done now. He is recalling how he cheated the the prison officers, and when he was about to sit on the bed in the bedroom, he could see something there like a monster, like a Gorgon. Who was it, you know? Who can guess it out now? The governor. The governor reached his hotel using the hints in the question paper. Dear children, that is the surprise here now. Sitting on the narrow bed, it is not worth trying anything, said the governor. The governor was there, yes. Sitting on the narrow bed was the very last man in the world that Evans had expected or wanted to see. Actually, Evans also expected him there, because that was a trick done. It is not worth trying anything, said the governor. But the governor thought it was his mind or intelligence that made him reach over there. Actually, it was meant for him. That's why Evans knows that governor would reach there. That is why there is no much surprise. Said quickly, as Evans' eyes darted desperately around the room, I have got men all around the place. Well, there were only two really, but Evans didn't know that. Actually, the governor said, I have people around this hotel, but only two are there. But he did not reveal that to Evans. He let the words sink in, means to understand. Women too, didn't you think the blonde hair in reception was rather sweet? The light colored girl, blonde means light colored, you know. Yeah, girl sitting in the counter, didn't you think the blonde girl in the reception was rather sweet? Evans was visibly taken. Suddenly she was shaken. He sat down slowly in the only chair the small room could offer and held his head between his hands. For several minutes there was utter silence. You can see in the picture, dear children, the governor is there, Evans, both are there. Is it clear? Finally he spoke. It was that bloody correction slip, I suppose. Well, the governor failed to mask the deep satisfaction in his voice. There are a few people who know a little German. Actually, the man, Evans asked whether it could be that correction slip helped you. Then governor from inside said, yes, well, there are a few people who knew a little German. Slowly, very slowly, Evans relaxed. Okay. He was beaten and he knew it. Okay, he knew that it would happen. He sat up at last and managed to smile ruefully, helplessly. It's a feeling, okay. With a heavy feeling, he stood up. You know, it wasn't really a mistake. You see, we hadn't been able to fix up any hotel, but we couldn't have worked that some other way. No, the really important thing was for the phone to ring just before the exam finished to get everyone out of the way for a couple of minutes. So we had to know exactly when the exam started, didn't we? Okay, so that is a trick from their side, and his people made a call to the governor to make himself busy. And like a fool, I presented you with that little piece of information on a plate. Okay. When suddenly somebody did, so you see, sir, that correction slip killed two little birds with a single stone, didn't it? that correction slip only helped both party to escape. One, for example, for Evans to escape from the prison and for the governor to catch him. Okay, the name of the hotel for me and the exact time the exam started for or ever. The governor nodded. It is pretty common word. Okay, it is very beautiful. Good job. It is pretty common, sir. Or I would never have known where to come to, would I? So he said, okay, that correction slip only helped Evans to reach this hotel. The same way the governor also reached over there. Nice name though, Zum, Golden and Lowen. How did you know which golden and lion it was? There is hundreds of them. Evans asked, how the governor could reach exactly the golden lion? Then same as you, Evans, governor said. Index number 313, sender number 271, remember 6 figures. And if you take an ordnance survey map for Oxfordshire, you find that the 6-figure reference 313271 lands you bang in the middle of Chipping Norton. That is the way they clubbed the number and found the place. Yeah, you are right. How? We had opened, you would run off to Newbury. We did? Well, that is something I suppose. From there, you would be going to Newbury. So, governor also reached there. Well, that is something I suppose. That question paper, Evans, could you really understand all that German? I could hardly. This governor is telling, actually, though he studied German in his lower classes. But governor had the doubt whether Evans could understand all those things. Nah, hey, no, of course I couldn't. He agreed. Who admitted it? Evans admitted it. That is only an escape. Okay, I knew roughly that it was all about, but we just hoped it would throw a few spanner in the work, sort of muddle everybody a bit. Actually, he did not know much about German, but only some codes that he could understand. The governor stood up. Tell me one thing before we go. How on earth did you get all that blood to pour over your bed? Now, governor is so interested to know how that blood part came. How the blood is there managed. How on earth did you get all that blood to pour over your head? Evans suddenly looked a little happier. Evans also felt very happy to explain it. Clever, sir. Very clever that was. How to get a couple of pins of blood into a cell. When there is none there to start off with, and when the invigilator, shall we say, gets searched before he comes in. Yes, sir, you can well ask about that, and I don't know if I ought to tell you. After all, I might want to use that particular. So actually, Evans felt very happy to explain the fact to the governor. Actually, governor had to investigate or to frisk that McClary before his entrance to the cell. Anything to do with the little rubber ring for piles perhaps? Then suddenly governor remembered, maybe that rubber ring that gave a treat for that. Evans grinned feebly. Yes, he smiled weakly. Clever though, wasn't it? It was very clever. Must have been a tricky job sticking a couple of pins. What is pinned, Pinned it is actually pronounced pines, a measure of 0.57 of a liter. You can write down pined. It is pronounced as pined. The pined, okay. You have got it wrong, sir. No problem about that. No, it is the clotting, you see. That is the big trouble. We got to blood easy enough. Pig's blood it was from a slaughterhouse in Kidlington. But to stop it clotting, you have got to mix your actual blood. Evans took a breath. With 1/10 of its own volume, 3.8% trisodium. So in order to prevent the blood from clotting, they had to use 3.8% of trisodium citrate. Okay, didn't know that, did you, sir? Okay, that is the secret, sir. Actually, governor had the doubt why, how he maintained the blood without getting clotting. Okay, clotting. The governor shook his head in token of reluctant admiration. Actually, though governor was an entity to control the criminal, he felt somewhere happiness in his mind, a token of reluctant, unwilling admiration about Evans. We learn something new every day. They tell me, come on, my lad. So governor understood that we have to learn from everybody something or the other. Evans made no show of resistance, and side by side two men walked slowly down the stairs. Tell me, Evans, how did you manage to plan all this business? You have had no visitors. I have seen to that you have had no letters. Now, the next doubt from the governor is how he managed all these visitors. Actually, no visitors were allowed to Evans. Then how he got planned all this? Then Evans said, sir, did you ever check the German teacher? Did you make any inquiry about the German teacher? That German teacher himself was his accomplice, help. I have got lots of friends, though. What's that supposed to mean? Mr. German teacher for a start. You mean? But he was from the technical college. Actually, they arranged it from technical college. Was he? He once was almost enjoying it all now. You ever check upon him, sir? Did you ever check that he is from the technical college? God Almighty, there is far more going on than I always will be, sir. Then governor said, so many things are happening, okay, without his knowledge. Then Ivan said, yes, always will be, sir. Everything ready, asked the governor as they stood by the reception desk. The van's out the front, sir, said the pretty blonde receptionist. The blonde receptionist girl, no, that having a light colored girl, head girl said, the van is ready. You know this van and the people? Once there was a call from the magistrate asking for a prison van and two personnel. Yes, same. These two people are from Ivan's friend side only, for your information. The van's out there, said the pretty blonde receptionist. Evans winked at her. Actually, that girl also is a part of his escape. Winked at her and she winked back. What is winking? Closing one eye open and the other closed. Winked back at her. It almost made his day. A silent prison officer handcuffed the recaptured Evans. What is handcuffed, you know? Handcuff is there. The police people will use it to surrender a criminal. Okay. Recapture Evans, and together the two men clambered. Clambered means climbed with difficulty awkwardly into the back seat of the prison, because when your hands are handcuffed, you cannot climb easily. So clambered, the word clambered is used. Climb with difficulty or get into a car with difficulty. See you soon, Evans. It was almost as if the governor was saying farewell to an old friend after a cocktail party, a drink party. Okay, so after a drink party, people say goodbye. Same way, the governor is giving bye-bye to Evans and the two officer and the prison van. Okay, cheer, but actually they are not the original officers, and that we will come to know in ahead. Cheerio, sir. I was just wondering, I know you are German pretty good, sir, but do you know any more of these modern languages? Okay, while going, he said, sir, your German understanding is good. Do you know any other modern language? Not very well. Why? He asked, why? Ivan settled himself comfortably on the back seat and grinned happily. Nothing really. I just happened to notice that you have got some O-level Italian classes coming up next September. That's all. Now he will leave German classes. Now he will start learning Italian classes next time. That means once again he has to escape like that. Perhaps you won't be with us next September, Evans. But governor said, no, you will not be with us. That means you will be shifted to some other place in the jail. James Roderick Evans appeared to ponder the governor's words deeply. No, perhaps I won't, he said. But indirectly, who won't be there with the governor for the next September? Evans knows it, that the prison officers are none but his own friends. As the prison van turned right from Chipping Norton on to the Oxford Road, the hitherto silent prison officer unlocked the handcuffs and leaned forward towards the driver. For Christ's sake, get a move on. It won't take them long to find out. Where do you suggest we make for? Asked the driver in a broad Scotch accent. What about Newbury? Suggested Evans. Okay. So finally, dear children, we have come to know that the prison van and the two officers there are again not original, and they are the people of Evans, and finally they decide to go to Newbury, that hotel, okay, to enjoy. And again Evans escaped. Now he has escaped it for fourth time. 3 times already over, this is fourth time. Actually, it's a very lengthy lesson. If I tell you the summary, it would be nice, but the thing is, we have to make a thorough reading of the text, because questions can be from any part of the text. So dear children, it is all over now. The suspense is over. Again the governor is cheated. The gullible governor is cheated again, but he felt he is safe again. He has no that detective mind as such. So before we conclude for the day, let us make an immediate recap of what we have discussed. Okay, so today we started with the search, continuing to find Evans, and finally in between Evans disclosed how he happened to get the dress, that means the clerical dress. McClary brought everything two, and they exchanged in between the blanket. Okay, and later on, when he was about to take a sleep in the hotel, he could find that governor reached over there, and they had a pleasantries, and they discussed about how Evans happened to escape, and that is through the question paper and the correction slip, and that's why both parties reached the same hotel. Okay, and the index number 313 and sender number 271, it's actually it is written in the survey map of Oxfordshire. So they reached Chipping Norton. Then actually governor was admiring Evans about his intelligence, how he managed the blood that was disclosed to governor, how he managed visitors in the cell, that also he explained, that is through the German teacher. And finally how he that was not revealed here, actually it is understood. The van, they made a call, his friends made a call to arrange a van and 2 people, so that also is a plan from Evans' friends, and finally Evans escaped. Dear children, that is the end of the lesson. Now you can read well, study well, write down the important words, write down the question and the answers, and get ready for yourself for the exam. Thank you. Have a nice day ahead.